we're now live.
I'm live?
Yep.
Greetings!
There's no one here yet.
There's no one here yet.
Yeah.
But people who tune in when they're watching it
Yeah.
will see this. So
I'll wait till we get a
greetings.
couple people before we...
Okay.
Okay.
Who's here?
Dawn.
Dawn? Who else?
James.
James? All right, folks. Welcome to the Saturday noon.
Judy.
Okay, Brian. Brian's confusing me now because he's telling me everybody as they come in. Bang, there's 3 of you here now. There's enough for me to go on. Okay, before anything, a very brief but heartfelt thank you to Peter Fragis-Katos, the Liberal MP in our district, London North Centre, because he has worked very hard in ensuring that small businesses like mine have the wherewithal to continue, and with his help and his extraordinary reaching out to his constituents, I'm really, really impressed, as well as his staff, Sasisa and Jager. They've been awesome. So enough of that. Okay, moving right along, and here I am standing in front of a painting by Trevor Kyle Carter, a wonderful 4x5, which Trevor is a graduate of Beale, and Trevor has been showing with us now for like 20 years. And before going on, I just want to mention, if you're looking for something to read, The Arcanum is by Janet Gleason is incredible. You'll only find it secondhand. You may find it on, it may be available to read on, what are those things that people read on? Kindles or whatever. It's a great, if you're interested in the history of porcelain, it is a fabulous story. It reads like a novel, so it's not dry, it's really entertaining, and it's all the intrigue and the drama. It's absolutely extraordinary. It will blow you away. And now we're moving on to our first artist that we will be talking about today, Kirsten Abrahamson. Kirsten Abrahamson is just absolutely wonderful artist. She is a graduate of the Alberta College of Art and Design, ACAD, and this piece right here, which is inspired by the painting of Goya, is an absolutely, this was what she did for her year end, and all of these little guys here, these were her professors, okay, back in 1989. And Kirsten was telling me that when the exhibition opened for the graduating students, this was, according to the security guard, he had never seen a lineup for people to look at a work of art as they had to look at this particular work of art. It's absolutely extraordinary. And to give you an idea, the little figures, a couple of years ago, I had an artist, a painter, who also went to ACAD, who was in the graduating class, same graduating class. He remembered the sculpture, and he said that the depiction of whoever the teachers are is absolutely spot on. I love this piece, and considering that it's only $1,500, I'm still surprised that we still have it. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised that Kirsten even parted with it. Now, Kirsten also did this incredible installation called Diary of a River, and it was the story of her life in ceramics. It traveled around the country. Actually, it was here at Museum London, and back about, oh my God, over 10 years ago, I was asked by the Alberta government on behalf of the Alberta Foundation of the Arts to do a cultural properties appraisal on it. And Diary of a River it was amazing. As a matter of fact, I would have loved to have had it here to have the opportunity to sell it. So anyway, and then I tried to track Kirsten down. Well, she proved to be very, very elusive, and I didn't have any luck tracking her down. And then Brian went, and because at that time we were also showcasing a metal artist, and we had an exhibition of eyeglasses by the indomitable Personality Plus Jackie Anderson. I mean, Jackie Anderson she's just so much fun from Calgary. So then Brian tells me that Jackie's coming in, and he says she's bringing somebody for you to meet. So I wanted to know, well, who the hell is she bringing? But he wouldn't tell me. And then, so the day of Jackie's opening, in walks Jackie with this other woman. And then I'm introduced, Jackie turns and says, I'd like you to meet Kirsten Abrahamson. I swear, this is how this is how it happened. I get introduced, and without even thinking, I just gave her a great big hug. She gave me a great big hug, and we've been best buds ever since. Kirsten is just a joy. Well, for Christ's sake, you could not do work like this if you weren't really, really a person of both wit and, well, actually, one of the people that we sold one of these figures to was Warp, and Warp is a really important cartoonist at the New Yorker. So anyway, we bond. Oh my God, we bond. I mean, she was just absolutely wonderful. So of course, me being me, I said, well, I'd really love to have some of your work. When are we getting some? And the conversation then went on. She said, well, Jonathan, she said, the unfortunate thing is that my work just doesn't sell. She says, I had exhibitions back in the 80s, nobody bought it, and yada. And I said, well, you know what? I said, I think that's absolute nonsense. I said, because I think it's really cool. And so she hadn't done anything for quite a while, because unfortunately, in moving from Calgary onto Ontario, her husband had health issues, so she was a caregiver, both of her husband, her mom, and all the things, like life got in the way. So, but I'm a persistent person. This is actually persistent. If you want persistence, this, to give you an idea of how she saw me, well, this here is me, okay? So this is how she saw me, as being the slave driver. And so this piece was, and actually she brought it in one day, it was all in a box, and she said, this is a Christmas gift. And I said, okay, fine. So I waited 2 months until I opened it, and she couldn't believe that I actually had the fortitude to wait 2 months. And then on Christmas morning, I open up, and there I am. My God, I swear. I think she caught my hair perfectly, and the whip, I guess Stephen must have loaned her that. But anyway, here we are, and this is this absolutely extraordinary piece. This is obviously not for sale. This is moi. Okay, so then I said to her, she said, well, nobody buys my stuff. I said, well, do you have any of your pieces left? So she said, yes. So she brings in these 5 pieces, and I knew that I really had to push the envelope, and I had to get them sold ASAP so I could get her to get her ass back in the studio. To me, that was really important, because if you're this creative, you need to have a little bit of a push. And so what I did was, she brought in the 5 pieces. I made a couple of phone calls. Naturally, I bought one because I've been waiting for one forever. And then, sure enough, here we had, I sold all 5 within like 2 days. As a matter of fact, Attic Books, that I keep on going on and on about, Marvin's got a little quirky sense of humor as well. So Marvin was one of the first ones to get one. But anyway, and Dawn, I think, who's there. I think Dawn has one. So anyway, there they were. Well, with that kind of push, Kirsten went back into the studio, and we've had exhibitions of her work. We have placed her work and sold her work and shipped it all over North America, and it's just like, it's so much fun. It's just incredible fun. So the amount of work that goes into these is extraordinary, because each piece, as you can see, is like sculpted. So it's there, it's pinched, it's put together, it's really just insane what she does. And then she also puts in, uses mixed media to get the hair. And this is not me, because the hair is green. And so it's just wonderful what she's done. Here we've got like cord. And people who have acquired her work are just incredible. Now, Kirsten is originally American. Fortunately, she is now a Canadian, and by being Canadian, that means that we show her, because the reality is that we only show contemporary Canadian ceramic art because we really feel that it's important. It's really important that that Canadian artists get promoted. And I'm going to tell you a little story about that later on, about what it means to support Canadian art. So anyway, so her work is so incredible. Like, look at here. Here you've got Lola. Lola is this is a black cat, and with the heart, just a wonderful. You know, if you've got a black cat of your own, this will stay around forever. So here we've got Lola, and Lola is a paltry $650, signed by Kirsten. A little bit of a tail there, and yeah, she's just absolutely wonderful. So there we've got Lola, the black cat. The and you know, Kirsten is totally you know, with the and here, look at that. Isn't that a cat on Grindr? You got, and oh, hold it, Tinder, sorry. Tinder, this is Tinder. The Grindr one we already sold. So that is that. They're just really, really absolutely kick-ass. But you know, one of the other things about Kirsten, who by the way is teaches at Sheridan, she teaches painting, and she's probably not teaching it right now. But anyway, but I gotta show you what she did, because these are absolutely extraordinary. Now, here we've got, you can see, the picture here represents, you know, she grew up in Cleveland, and she had a very happy Cleveland childhood. Here again, she obviously lived down in the inner city, but Kirsten has a really strong, incredibly strong social conscience. And one of the things that has been particularly upsetting to her is the realities that have impacted Indigenous women, and the number of Indigenous women that have disappeared over the years, and their families are, you know, really concerned. There has been not enough done to look into this. So Kirsten decided that she would do this. So this is, as you can see, is wonderful. You've got all the little ceramic additions that are indicative and reminiscent and emblematic of the extraordinarily happy childhood she had. And then when you look, you see the writing. And the writing here, where are their bones? Every 6 days, every 6 days, every 6 days, every 6 days, an Indigenous woman in Canada disappears. And then, you know, up here, what sort of place is this that allows the human rights of its people to be ignored? Violence requires a concerted response from police and all levels of society. This is a really powerful political piece. But one of the things that was important to Kirsten was she didn't want to be seen as, you know, banging a drum, because Kirsten is not an Indigenous woman, but she really felt that it was important to support Indigenous. So here you've got really the contrast between the Indigenous women and their plight, and you've got that with the extraordinarily happy life that she had growing up as a white woman in North America. And I mean, here, the thing is, it's all just a toss of the dice, because who knows? I am so happy that I'm Canadian, and I'm so happy in the way that our government has taken care of us, but the reality is that's an accident of birth. I didn't do anything particularly intelligent to get here, and I don't think when Mom and Dad were doing the dirty, I don't think they were thinking of anything particularly intelligent either. But anyway, so you've got this incredible thing, but also this painting and this painting, when they are sold, the money from this is going 100% to an Indigenous women's organization that will be, and that's really important. Originally, half of it was going to go to there, and another half, but Brian and I decided that, you know, the reality is that right now we're in different times. So this painting and the other one, how much are these things anyway?
$13.50 each.
They're $1,350 each. Anyone buying this, the entire $13.50 will be going to Indigenous women. Okay, so there you go. And what's really nice about them is that though they are such a strong political statement, when you see them from a distance, it's really, you've got to look close. And I think that's the whole thing about life today, is we got to look close. All right, so there we have that. And one of the things, we ended up, oh my God, she really made the right decision in depicting me as a slave driver, because we gave her different, one of the things is also that we've done over time is we've asked artists to do specific things to enhance the imagery that they're doing. So here, this is a wonderful skater. This is from a series of skaters, and that piece is, by the way, technically, like to have that up on there on one leg, that really takes some doing. And that piece is only 1,050. But the interesting thing about this was done when the World Skating Championships were in London, and we had she did a whole series of skaters, and I think that Tessa just looks amazing. I don't know if that black eye is from Scott, but where he just, maybe they did a double axel that just didn't quite hit. But anyway, absolutely incredible. Now the other neat thing about and she's doing all of these, with the commercial glazes and all that. But in her journey growing up, she also, of course, why did I pick one? Oh, here. See the little Canadian flag there? Because though born American, she is very, very appreciative and very much loves Canada. So she identifies and leaves that little, mark of Canada right there, which I think is wonderful. So unlike my position in Canada as an accident of birth, Kirsten is here by choice. And I'm really so happy that she is, because otherwise we wouldn't be showing her work. And that leads me to something else. Now, years ago, we were approached by Trudy Golly, who at Red Deer had contacted us because of an Australian artist that was doing a workshop in Red Deer, and wanted to know if we wanted to be a venue to get rid of I should not say get rid of, but if we wanted to be a venue to place the pieces that this Australian artist was making in Red Deer. And you know what? Her work was absolutely kick-ass. It was beautiful, beautiful work. It totally appealed to my aesthetic. As a matter of fact, it wasn't unlike the work of Enid LeGros-Wise from Pasquiliac, Quebec. It was white, it was beautiful, it was using that Australian clay that I think is called ice. But anyway, it was just fabulous. And so here's where, a little bit of a head game. So I was talking to Brian in the pub, and we were having a beer, and I mentioned this, and he got all bent out of shape because he said, oh, that's not what we do. We show Canadian. We're going, and which is fine, and he's right, and we do, and we've continued to do so. And but he was getting so bent out of shape that I decided to play with his head. And the reason I played with his head, because I knew that he was parroting what I had said, and which is fine, because I was right. But at the same time, I really love this artist's work. So anyway, that night, we go home, we come in the morning, and I have to phone Trudy. And I wait for Brian to come in. He comes in with a couple cups of coffee and puts it down. I said, oh, I know, because the night before I said to him, because he was being so emphatic, I said, well, you know what, when it all comes down to it, it's my gallery, I can do what I want. And I did that on purpose, because one of the things about working with somebody is that you both want to be thinking, you both want to be having a conversation. It's not just, swallow and regurgitate. So anyway, when he comes in with the coffee, and I said, well, I got to call Trudy. I said, so what do you think? And he said, well, he's very snotty. I trained him well. And so he says, well, he said, the thing is that It's your gallery, you know, you can do whatever the hell you want. And I looked at him and I said, Brian, that's not what I asked you. I asked you, what do you think and why do you think that? And he said, I swear this is exactly what he said. He said, the reality is her work is beautiful. And yes, the work is made in Canada. But that is not what our mandate is. Our mandate is to show Canadian. Our mandate is to support Canadian. And people only have so much money. So if we are showing the work of an Australian artist, even though the work is made in Canada, then we are taking money out of the pocket of a Canadian artist. So I looked at him, I said, okay, fine. I said, yeah, but you're right. I said, the decision's mine. So anyway, so I picked up the phone. He's standing there. We both got our coffee. The air was a little tense. And I called Trudy. So I said, oh, Trudy, I said, just wanted to call you. I said, I really appreciate you getting in touch with us. I absolutely love that artist's work. Her aesthetic is so what I love. But I said, here's the scoop. I said, we can't do it. And I said, that decision is not really a decision that I took lightly. I said, actually, that was Brian pointing out to me what the mandate of the gallery is. And how what we do is we focus on Canadian. And we can't do it. And she got it immediately. Got off the phone. I turned around to Brian and direct quote. I said, now you listen to me, you son of a bitch. If I want somebody to just agree with me, I can go out and hire a puppet. I said, what I want is somebody that I know will carry on and do what I do, but also think about what they're saying and why they do it. And I said, that is what, when you gave that answer this morning, you told me why, what, and you reminded me of what our mandate is. That is what we do. Okay, so there's my preaching for today. But anyway, getting back to Kirsten, she has just done this. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is so kick-ass. Look what's in the back pocket. I mean, really. It's just wonderful. And there is so much you can, I've been talking to a lot of people during the last 29 days of incarceration in my home terrarium. And the thing is that, I've had people who have art saying, I go around, I visit it, have a glass of wine, let's go check. Because now we have time to look at things. And you know what? When you look around, you want to look at things that have a soul. You want to look around and at things that are touched by the maker. And that's what all this stuff is. It's touched by the maker. And it's a completely different reality than a made in China piece of home sense. Okay, you got that. Now the other thing, is also when you support us, you're supporting them, and when you do all of that kind of stuff, it's also keeping money in Canada, and everything is pretty cool. It's like I was talking today to another merchant, because I know I keep on going on about bricks and mortar. It's really important to support bricks and mortar businesses. And like for any of you women that are sitting there and think, oh, I need a little skirt or I need a little something, go online, go to Hangar 9, listen to Lisa Ferguson, because she's doing the exact damn thing that I'm doing, and she is in her shop right now doing her best to make sure that her business survives. Okay, so there's that lecture over. Now moving on from Kirsten Abrahamson, whose work we absolutely love, bright, colorful, and now we've got to come down because there's a couple of pieces that you really need to see. This is extraordinary. Now this is one of only two examples. This is the larger example. The other one has already been placed into a London collection, a very, very extraordinary London collection. So this took her literally months. And just so you realize, these little figures, she was explaining to me that to do these little figures is almost as much time and energy as to doing a large one, because you're still doing the glazing, you're still doing the modeling, all the steps that go into this. And then here, of course, there's all the painted backdrops. This is just absolutely extraordinary. And this is also, just as the very large installation that opened up in Alberta, it was actually here at London Museum. This is like a miniaturized diary of her life. So all of the things that are going in here you've got the heart. You've got the heart there, and then all of these reference things in her life. that her love of cats. This here is actually a miniaturization of a very significant piece that was in the Diary of a River, and then all these little wackadoodle figures. And if you notice, it's got that ridiculously expensive glass, but this is just so much fun. You can look and when people come in, they look and they stare at this for hours. Well, maybe not for hours because we throw them out, but it is just absolutely wonderful. And everything that she does it's just so wild. I mean, here, one of her totems. Now, she's only done 2 of these totems for us, but again, there's so much fun with all of the different figures and everything, and they just make you smile to look at. But again, when you look at that with all the applied pieces of ceramic, all the different kinds, that is like an insane, absolutely insane amount of work. And somewhere around here, we have a chess set that she did, and that chess set is absolutely kick-ass. There's even it comes in a special box. Anybody wanting to see that chess set, because obviously we forgot to put it out when we were setting up for this talk, not to worry because it's here. Is it online, Brian?
I think so.
And it's online. If not, but if you're really curious about the chess set, then go right ahead, contact us. We will make sure. As a matter of fact, I will even do a little video talking about her chess set, which is absolutely... We had 3 artists actually do chess sets. One was Melissa LeBlanc, another was Pat Weber from Salt Spring Island, and another was...
Zhuzha.
And Zhuzha did a chess set. Oh shit, I forgot about that. She did one that, is that still up on our website?
I think so.
Zhuzha did a website. She did a chess set that would just blow you away. It was like a table, and there were little figures, and there were little people, and it was called, the Yenta. Anybody who wants to know what a Yenta is, that's somebody that never stops talking. Don't call me a Yenta. Okay, so anyway, so that was that. It's just absolutely amazing. But yeah, so there we've got, okay, Kirsten, we're done with you. All right, but, the thing is that, we want to make this hour of talking about ceramics, we want to make it fun. We want to make it feel that you're actually here, and we also want to stir your soul so you decide to say, oh my God, I have to have that. I'm going to support Canadian art. I'm going to give them a call. I know this sounds so shopping channel, but you know what? I was trained by Jeannie Becker. What can I say? And when she comes in here, she thinks it's that she wants to. Oh my God, this is so wonderful. So I do the same thing that she does. The only thing we don't have her on tape yet, damn it. But Leonard Cohen, when he was here, he thought this place was amazing. And then as he was leaving, he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, John, and that picture's there, it's true. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, you're doing great things for Canadian art. And I stupidly didn't have him sign the guest book and say that because A, I would have had his autograph, B, I would have had an endorsement. So in C, you're just going to have to believe me, but it's true. Okay, so now, moving right along here, we have another ceramic artist, and Mindy Andrews. Mindy Andrews works in porcelain. Her work is really, really... By the way, just so you know, red is a very difficult color to do. That's why you very seldom find red to any great degree in contemporary ceramics, because certain colors have firing them and having a clarity and having an evenness it's a lot of work. And so, but Mindy Andrews does a fabulous job. I mean, at one point we had her do some honey pots for us, and you can see that the painting on her honey pots is absolutely exquisite. And then the little surprise inside. So you can use this for honey, you can use this for coffee, you can use this for tea, you can use it for whatever the hell you want, but you can use it. Or you can just sit and look at it because it's really pretty. So that is Mindy Andrews' work is one of them. Mindy is a really good friend of Lisa McGrath. Now, Lisa McGrath is a ceramic artist who is a graduate of Beale and then went out to Alberta College of Art and Design, and she's out there now teaching. She was mentored by Rob Reimer, if any of you know him. Rob Reimer was Rob Reimer's piece that that connected Lisa and I, because when she was in here, I said, I got to show you one of my favorite pieces. And I brought out a teapot, and she actually started crying. And she said, that was my mentor. He didn't show in galleries. He was a pure studio potter and taught, but his work is absolutely incredible. So, but one of the neat things is when you get artists to collaborate, and here we have exquisite collaborations by Lisa McGrath and by Mindy Andrews. So the figures up here, these beautifully modeled figures, all in matte glazes, these are by Lisa McGrath, and the porcelain bases, all of this is by Mindy Andrews. So it's a really successful melding of the talents of two extraordinary ceramic artists whose work it really works. And here right now, this is me, Barker Beaver, and just sort of like touting my wares and touting the wares of the ceramic art. I tried to get some of the ceramic artists to actually come on and do the little split screen, but they're such a shy lot. I think I have to maybe if I do an evening one when they're already stoned or something, so they can join in and we can really have something wild and wonderful happening. But anyway, so this is, by the way, if their kids are watching this, I am really trying to cut down on any swearing. However, the 3 o'clock performance that I give on London Ceramic or Ceramic London, I can't get it right. That one, I must admit, is probably not kid friendly. But anyway, her work is just absolutely fabulous. Now, if any of you are wondering about the dominance, or rather, there's only 2 of them here, but rabbits they really figure a lot in her work, and the reason they really figure a lot in her work is because she's born the year of the rabbit. I'm also born the year of the rabbit, so we have this bonding thing that we do over being the year of the rabbit. Stephen and Brian are both the year of the dog, and which I don't know if they chase me or I chase them, but anyway, that is all that. And one of the things that's been interesting over the past 20 years is that when we started, other than one artist, Ruth Gatti McKinley, whose work was, everybody else was here. And then over the past 20 years, like anything, people have departed from this mortal coil. And one of the really extraordinary artists to do that is John Chalk. Now, John Chalk was Alberta artist, taught at the Alberta College of Art and Design, multi-fired work, and he is such a character. And he and his ceramic artist wife, Barbara Tipton, lived in this little wee house in southwest Calgary that is one of the oldest houses in Calgary, and it was just so much fun. So anyway, we go and we see him, and John's work really is. So he did these multiple firing works with incredible glazes and multi-firing. This one is actually based on Three Sisters, which is a mountain range between Alberta and British Columbia, but just absolutely wonderful work. But I remember we were sitting in the living room with Barbara and John, and he really is. He is so funny. So we're talking and we're picking out things. He had just done this absolutely kick-ass plate, which he sent out, which again now is in a collection in London. But he was so funny. And then, so we really wanted John to hear for one of the exhibitions. So we brought him out. Unfortunately, Barbara wasn't able to attend, but we brought John, and we had one of our ceramic parties. Was it Matter of Clay, Brian? Or was it Matter of Clay? And so John comes out. Now, prior to legalization, that did not interfere with John's appreciation of weed. So anyway, he was flying out to London, and I had this horrible, horrible vision of him flying out here, the plane being rerouted to Nebraska, and he was using a cane at that time, and I thought, my God, they're going to land in Nebraska. He's going to get off for refueling. The drug sniffer dog is going, and so I had this whole scenario where I already had it packed away in a cell down in Nebraska, and so I called him up. I said, "Look, John, whatever you do, we'll take care of you here. Never mind bringing any of your how did I phrase it? It was very poetic. But anyway, I said, don't bring anything. Oh, I know it was your something of choice. I said, don't bring it with you. So he didn't. Anyway, so we're here, we're having the show and everything. And then Rob and Mim had this kick-ass party. It was just so great. And I will never forget this. It was like it was yesterday. I'm standing in the dining room with a drink in hand. John walks through the door, and by this time there's quite a few people there. And he walks in with his cane, because he was a little bit frail at the time. So he's walking in, and Brian just walks right up to him. He says, John, he said, it's so good to see you. Goes like this, opens his hand, and drops a few joints into John's hand. Well, John lit up like a Christmas tree, and I took Brian's hand and said, bless you, my son. Bless you, my son. And so the next thing I know, I thought, where the fuck is everybody? Excuse me, kids. Where is everybody? And out in Mim's garden are 50 people sharing joints. I mean, my God. It was absolutely hysterical. So it was a very good party. I mean, you know, we had so many laughs, so much fun. It was wonderful. And that's one of the things that, you know, this whole thing about people remembering that ceramic art is touched by the maker. So and I said it, you know, in the last one, this is all made by people. These are all made by people. Who's what?
Go back.
Oh, he wants me to go back. I thought he was telling me to leave. Okay, so that is that. And where am I going now? Oh, Bruce Cochran. Okay, so now Bruce. Bruce is, or rather was, the head of the ceramic department at Sheridan for over 20 years. Absolutely extraordinary artist, known for his very strong, really, really strong forms. This particular one is both what he's done, just to give you an idea. So this is a bowl, and that is a bowl, and then it's assembled, and then even the lid is thrown. This is thrown separately, and if you look inside, you're going to see that seam where he's connected it. And also, looking at the clay, this is Plainsman's clay. Now, Plainsman's clay is a clay that was back before, like pretty well pre-1960, pre-1965. Plainsman clay was what artists had access to. So given the heavy amount of grog that was in it, grog is what is in the clay that makes it, like porcelain is very pure. There's no grog in it. So picture if you had sand in your lard. The sand is the grog and the lard is the porcelain. That's, I mean, roughly. So the more grog that you go in, you're limited to what you can do. So anyway, Plainsman clay is what Walter Dexter used. But, you know, the reality is that Bruce's work, strong geometric forms. I mean, here, again, you can see that the lid is thrown, but this lid is also thrown. And then so he's got this tiny little ball, and then he cuts out, and then it all gets assembled. So when you're looking at what artists do, really, really look. But also bear in mind that what an artist does to get an effect is not necessarily, like they could be cheating. I don't mean cheating in the sense of anything other, like, you know, artists might decide that they want a wood-fired look, so they manipulate their glaze so it looks wood-fired, but it's not. So remember that knowing how something is done, I can look at things and I can have a pretty good idea, but my pretty good idea is limited to my knowledge of how things are done, but it's not limited to the knowledge of what the artist knows. So it's quite possible that I could be looking at something and think, oh shit, that was done this way. And then I'll be talking to the artist and they say, well, yeah, Jonathan, that's a good idea, but it wasn't. Anyways, while I was talking, you know, we were talking about John. Let's talk about Barbara. This is Barbara's work over here. Now, Barbara, again, is also originally American, extraordinary artist. After the after the sad departure of John, Barbara is now living in British Columbia, but her work is fabulous. I mean, look at this. This is this cup and saucer. Ooh. I mean, it's pure sculpture. Multiple firings, and I would imagine that those blues, there's a lot of the barium glaze, but look at the crystallization and everything, and it's just pretty amazing, and actually she's pretty amazing. Again, because that's what I tell you, we have made a point of making sure that the artists that we represent are artists that we actually connect to and that we like, and so that's kind of cool. So now we have. There's lots of lots of artists that we will be talking about during this ongoing incarceration in our terrariums. And where are we? No.
We have 20 minutes.
I've only been talking for 40 minutes. It seems like I've been talking for. Maybe it's because I need some water. Can we go it this way? Okay, folks. Even Stephen Colbert stops for a drink, but he's usually got bourbon. By the way, as you can see, Brian Gay did a shot here of our mug display, and we will be doing a talk on mugs either next Wednesday or Saturday, but. Just so you know. And also, if you see something online that we're not talking about that you're interested in, we are generally here for an hour after the show. So feel free to call our 519-434-5443 or toll free 866-229-5244. But yeah, so just remember that you can call, we can answer your questions and all of that stuff. Just a little aside, we were talking about Judy Blake the last couple of shows. This is a historical piece by Judy. This is a wonderful teapot by her with just a lovely luster glaze. Of course, she no longer makes teapots, but look at the twist. It's just, it's so completely elegant. And also pay attention to the spout, because this is a spout style that you'll see surface on other artists' work as well. Here we've got it by Steve Irvine. And so that spout surfaces. That type of spout is particularly noticeable when you look at the work of Ruth Gaddy McKinley. So anyway, there. By the way, while I'm fumbling around for something to say, I do want to thank the people who got in touch with Brian after the last performance, and consequently, there's a little piece going out to New Brunswick. There's another little piece going out to Toronto. There was another piece, staying in London. But it's really, really nice because, yes, we love keeping you informed, but we also love to keep our doors open and our lights on. There you go.
Why don't we talk about Liz Willoughby?
Liz Willoughby. Oh my God. Liz Willoughby is so funny. She is this extraordinarily talented wood fire artist. And Liz is very close to Ron Roy, as in they live together. But Liz is really well known for her wood-fired work, and when it comes to wood firing, she is a master, an absolute master. I mean, and here, you can see, now I don't know if that teapot of Judy's that we were looking at is wood-fired. If she can shoot us the thing, it's not, but this is, to get a luster like that in wood firing. Also, if you're ever out and you're looking and thinking, I wonder if that's wood-fired or not, turn it upside down. And when you see these little circles, that's a really good indication that it's wood-fired, because that's the little pieces that we need to do some cleaning. That's the little pieces to hold that off so it doesn't get glued to the shelf.
That's Shino.
Shino, but it's still wood-fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a wood-fired Shino.
Oh, sorry, Judy's teapot is Shino.
Oh, Judy's teapot is Shino, but this is a wood-fired thing. And nobody really does carbon trapping like Liz. I mean, this is absolutely wonderful so that during the firing, there's carbon floating around in the air in the kiln, and then it descends and gets literally trapped in the glaze. So all of this is not controlled in that she hasn't splashed something on it. This is actually being done in the kiln, happening rather in the kiln, but at the same time, to get it so that it really looks as extraordinary as Liz's work does, you really have to know what it is that you're doing. But also, I want you to look here. Now you see here we've got this one little dot, this little bump, and over here we've got two little bumps. And by the way, this is food safe. So, because this little slumped slab needs to fit on perfectly, and it fits in perfectly like that, but it doesn't fit on perfectly like that. It's up here on the side. So the thought and care that goes into this to make sure that when you, the owner, have it, that you don't screw it up by trying to push the lid down. But her work is extra, and I gotta show you, I have two of Liz's jugs at home, and Liz has great jugs. Ron was telling me that too. But anyway, look at this. I don't know if any of you are out there who are look at the form. This is just absolutely exquisite. You've got some beautiful little bit of carbon trapping, fabulous Chino luster. There's a little bit of orange thing there. Makes you wonder if she also added a little bit of salt. I don't know. I should ask her at some point. And then inside, this is the ash that's fallen and settled into the glaze. And
now that's a large piece for her.
And generally speaking, Liz's work is really, really small, but this is just absolutely incredibly beautiful. You can just see yourself doing something in there. You can do whatever you want in there. But anyway, and also she's so much fun. And her little tea bowls, they just fit in the hand nice. Wonderful little tea bowls that you can fill up with tequila or scotch, and it's just completely wonderful. But I have two of her jugs at home, and every day I use them. A matter of fact, I was filling up the iron with water from her jug and to iron this shirt so that I could look rather spiffy. This shirt, by the way, an Eau Noir from my local clothier, Dan Hassan. And there you go. So that's that. About do anything. Oh, and then if we had a piece of Ron's handy, but I don't think we do at the. No, well, so next thing
we'll do a thing on Ron next week.
We'll talk about Ron because all of these people have anecdotes, and that's what's really cool. The anecdotes that and the stories that as they incorporate into our life. I mean, sitting around at home whenever I see her jugs, they just make me smile. And also, unfortunately, our Wednesday talk, because we pushed the wrong button, has disappeared into the hinterland. And on that, we talked about Celia Brandau, and we talked about Melissa LeBlanc. And following this broadcast, Brian and I are going to be doing two mini vodkas. Shit, we don't have any vodka. We're going to be doing two mini posts, and we're going to be uploading those. So there will be later on today. You will have access to a little video on Celia, and a little video on Melissa. Melissa from New Brunswick, Melissa LeBlanc, and Celia Brandau from Ontario. So that's what we're going to be talking about after what we're going to be putting together and uploading after this. So there you are, and I think that we must be.
I think we're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
Okay, before he pushes the button, I want to thank whoever it is that's tuned in. You're all wonderful. I hope that you enjoyed this, and we will be talking to you next Wednesday at noon. Until then, be safe, wash your hands, and have a drink on me. Bye.